and welcome. My name is Mary Hunter. I'm the chair of Clatsop County Democrats. Thank you for coming today. We're excited to have this opportunity to get to know you a little bit better.
Thank you for having me.
So our first question is, please tell me your name and the position you're running for.
My name's Deanna Hammond, and I am running for City Council, and it's a council member at large in Cannon Beach.
Okay, thank you. And what has moved you to take this role in your community?
We are small business owners, and we live here, of course, so we really need a good balance between the residents, the business owners, and tourism. And I feel that I can help bring that to the table.
Okay, and what experience or background do you have that you feel prepares you for this position?
So there are a lot of projects going on within the city. There's the old elementary school project that elementary school is being reworked. There is the city hall that they're rebuilding, and then police services. I believe that they're looking to build actually a police station. I have 25 years plus financial and management background in the construction industry. Did a lot of high level consulting there at the end for that industry. So I'm very well versed in real estate development and how those projects work and what that takes. I feel that that would bring a lot to the table. I was also the president of the Columbia River Mental Health Foundation. I got involved with that, and that's in Clark County. I've been a resident in Cannon Beach for about 5 years. So I was involved with that. I started out as a member at the table, something that is very important to me, and helped lead that through a revamp, and we started having galas and things, and were able to raise significant amounts of money and left them in a good place when we bought our business here in Cannon Beach to move forward. I also was the chair for the Clark County Democratic Central Committee. So I know how to run a meeting, and as you may know, some of those meetings can be a tad interesting at times. So you have to be able to keep a level head to do that. And unfortunately, sometimes we have to think with our heads and not with our hearts as much as we would want to, and speaking out in that way. So I'm pretty level in a lot of different ways. And I've also, going back to my career experience before we bought the business here, I led my teams through many successful implementations and governmental audits. And so I just have a real strong understanding of what that looks like as well.
And can you tell me a little bit about your role in those later consulting jobs?
So I actually would help developers mostly financially, making sure that they were that everything was in compliance, that all the, watching their pennies and saving their dollars. So that's mostly what I did with that. I did a lot of, I spent a lot of time at the city, in cities and county offices, and reading code and doing all of those things to make sure that we were in compliance. So there's a lot of things there that I guess you can't take away what I know. And for some reason, I kind of nerd out on knowing about those kinds of things. If I can't find the answer, if I don't know the answer, I'm going to find it.
Okay, thank you. And our first Cannon Beach specific question. What do you think about the prepared food tax?
That's a loaded question. And many people know that I was opposed to the food tax. I have gone on record on numerous occasions saying that I didn't think it was a bad idea. I didn't think it was a good idea now. because of inflation and recession and coming out of COVID. And really, honestly, there's 27 businesses that are responsible for paying, it's a 5% tax, 2.5% is going to fire, and the emergency services completely agree with that. Don't agree with building a city hall with that money in a tsunami zone. It's kind of a bittersweet type deal there. But I do know that I think that, and it passed, it went before the voters. It passed all by a small margin, but it did, it passed. So I think that some things need to be revised with it. I'm not saying that I think we need to repeal it, but one of the things that I feel pretty strongly about is making sure that there's a sunset date on it. At this point, it's open-ended, and is some verbiage in there that kind of makes me give pause a little bit. At any time, the city can go and repeal the money that they're giving to emergency services. And if the fire department signs on for something for 10 years, and then 18 months from now they're like, well, in 12 months this is going to go away, then where does that leave our emergency services then? So I think that there's a lot of things that really need to be brought back to the table. And so that's pretty basically where I am on that.
Okay, and if there was no food tax, then how would you suggest financing emergency services?
Well, see, and that's the thing is, I'm not opposed to the food tax for the emergency services. So, but there are bonds and grants, and unfortunately, there's property tax, and I know that we all pay property taxes, and one of the things that was brought up while the discussion was there was why should the property owners have to pay solely for emergency services that are being used by the businesses and things? And it's the verbiage they left out there was the businesses have to pay property taxes as well. So we all have to pay the tax. Do we want property taxes to go any higher than they are? No, and I agree with that. I don't think that anybody wants to pay. The property taxes are pretty hefty in Cannon Beach. So I really don't see a problem with the prepared food tax as long as initially it was only for emergency services, and then it was expanded upon to help fund the city hall. So that kind of a little bit of a loaded little question you gave me there, but I think that bonds and grants and property taxes, and now we have a prepared food tax, and it's there. So we just need to look at what that's going to look like in the future.
Thank you. And another kind of spicy question. Should house size be regulated? And if so, in what way?
So, I am opposed to building a 4,000 square foot house on a 4,500 square foot lot. So I think that we need to keep the charm and the character of our community. But then there are people who have large homes here that maybe, that were built in the early 1900s. Maybe the house goes across a couple of lots. And so those kinds of things should be absolutely grandfathered in. I was talking with someone the other day, and they were talking about, not being opposed to building the bigger homes, but making sure that there was some kind of studio apartment or some sort of an apartment built into that that was for workforce housing. So, that could be an option as well. But building these large homes and obstructing views from other people who have lived here, I don't agree with that.
Okay, thank you. Next question is, how would you address the traffic issues?
So traffic in Cannon Beach is only bad about 3 months out of the year. And they're all coming here. We live on a public coast, right? One of the most beautiful places in the United States. And maybe in the top 50 and they're 10 in the world or something. Um, so people do congregate here. As far as traffic issues, the small businesses are the lifeblood of this community. And traffic is bad, but it's not ridiculous. Parking is an issue. And so I think that we really need to look at some parking issues. We need to, I'm not opposed to the city turning the public lots into paid lots. I don't think we should have paid parking on the street because with that comes signage and coin meters or, just a lot of things that will take away from what is actually the charm of our town. So keeping those information officers in the summertime moving and cruising and making sure that people are parking in the right places and that we don't have RVs strolling through town and parking and camping overnight and things. But for 9 months out of the year, the congestion is not as bad. So I think that sometimes in order to have a beautiful community like this, you have to take a few hits in order to be able to enjoy the bulk of the rest of the year. And I don't see that we're going to be able to take parking or take traffic away from town. I just don't see that slowing down.
Okay. And what is your vision for Cannon Beach for the next few years?
I really want to see the businesses and the residents find some balance. I think that there's been a lot of division. And I think a lot of that started with the prepared food tax. But there is division. I live here, so I understand the residential side, but I also have a business here. And so I get that piece as well. We just need to keep the community feel. I like walking down the street and talking with my neighbors, and we all want that harmony. And I think we can absolutely find it and still maintain what we call the crazy in the summer. Just all realizing that unfortunately, in order to have the grocery store and the restaurants and all of those things, we deal with tourism. Same with, the hotels. They put a lot of money back into the community through, transient tax. So we just need to learn to live together a little better and appreciate each other for who we are and what we serve in the community.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
This is Shiva. She decided to make an appearance. Well, thank you very much for coming. And we will post these recordings onto YouTube and our social media once all of the interviews are complete. So we'll be in touch with that link when it's available.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for having me.
All right. It's lovely meeting you. Thanks.
You as well. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye-bye.